Hello, good people of geometry. This is Mr. Heeren, and so far we've talked about slope, and we've talked about kind of everything and anything that has to do with lines and parallel and perpendicular, and kind of everything that can happen with lines, and talking about parallel lines and such like that. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to be kind of going into algebra mode a little bit, and just kind of seeing how it relates to some of the geometry ideas we've talked about thus far. So hopefully that now you've done 2-1 and 2-2, and wow, that doesn't really show up very well. So you've probably done the 2-1 through 2-2 quiz, and hopefully that went well for you. If not, then you probably should revisit some of those ideas until you have an idea of kind of make sure you know what you're doing. Okay, so let's look here. So probably the most familiar equation of a line is a slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. And remember, y-intercept is where does it cross the y-axis, okay? Where does it cross the y-axis? So you have the graph here, y 1/2 x plus 3. So if you look, crosses the y-axis at 3, so 1, 2, 3, and it has a slope of 1/2. That means it's going to go up 1 over 2. So up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. So the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, and the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. And one of the things I want you to be aware of, one of the things I tell students to remember, is that for y-intercept, x-intercept, the other thing is 0, okay? So for a y-intercept, that means that the x value is going to be 0, and then y is going to be some number, okay? So my y-intercept is going to be 0, a number. So up here, my y-intercept was 3. This actual location is 0, 3. Likewise for x-intercept. X-intercept means that you're going to have some x number, and then my y value is going to be 0. Okay? Now, a lot of this is review. A lot of this you might recognize. Okay? So this isn't too brain-breaking. Maybe one or two details that you might have to remember. But again, not too terrible. Not too terrible. Okay? So just remember, slope, y-intercept where it crosses the y-axis, okay? And then kind of sketching your graph from there. So if I look, write an equation of the line with the slope, 3, y-intercept of -2, then graph the line. So we have this, I'll follow our steps here. So we have y equals mx plus b. And we know that our slope, that our m is 3 and our b is -2. Okay, so our equation becomes y equals, but instead of m, I'm going to put 3. And instead of b, I'm going to put -2. So it would really be 3x minus 2. Okay, so now plot the y-intercept. So where does it cross the y-axis? Crosses the y-axis. This is the y-axis at -2. Okay, so that's at that value, -2. So now my slope is 3. Okay, so my slope is 3. So as a fraction, that's technically 3 over 1. Okay, so that means I go up 3 and I go over 1. So I go up 1, 2, 3, and over 1. So there's my next point. And I can plot a couple points just to make my line a little cleaner. So it's going to look something like that. Okay, so I wrote the equation in y equals mx plus b form. I found the y-intercept. I used the slope to find the next point or two. Then I sketch the line, and I'm done. That's kind of all there is to it. One note I will mention is that if you have a slope like this, that is a whole number, just kind of realize that it is over 1. Just going to realize that a whole number is just going to be something over 1, and that's just an old fraction rule. So now, write the equation of a line with a slope of -3/4 and passes through the point -4, 5. Then graph the line. Okay, so you are missing, so if I look here, you know, y equals mx plus b. You don't have the y-intercept. Okay, to find the y-intercept, I'm going to plug in the x and y value and solve. So here's what that means. Okay, and I'll move this over here just for a second. So we have a slope of -3/4 x plus b. Okay, we don't know the y-intercept. Okay, but we have this point -4, 5. Okay, so that's an x value, that's a y value. So I'm going to substitute in the x and the y. So that goes in there for x, that goes in there for y. Okay, why would I do that? Well, now look what I have left. Look what I have left. I have a whole bunch of numbers, and I just have b. I just have my y-intercept. So now I can solve for that. Okay, so this just becomes -3/4 times -4. All of that just becomes 3. Then, you know, a one-step algebra equation, we're at 2. So my y-intercept is going to be 2. Okay, so now if I bring this over, so it's going to be y equals -3/4 x plus 2. Now you're sketching the line, so you're plus 2. So now it's negative, so you're going to go down 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be your line right there. That's it. Okay, so the hard part is recognizing that I don't have a y-intercept, so I'm going to use the point. I'm going to use the point that they say, hey, it's on the line. So that means I can substitute it in for x and y over here. I can substitute that in, work my way algebraically, just follow some algebraic steps to my y-intercept, and then go from there. Okay? Okay. So now they don't give us a whole lot here. They don't give us a whole lot. They just say, hey, these two are on the line, and that's it. Okay, so let's just sketch these. I should have sketched the previous ones, but I didn't. So I'm at 0, 3, and I'm at -2, -1. Okay, so from there, okay, so I have an idea of what this line should look like. Okay, so how do I figure out the slope? Well, I can figure out the slope, you know, if I'm lucky enough, I can kind of eyeball that, you know, hey, wait, this goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1, 2. So it's a 4 over 2. So it's a slope of 2. So if I do that using the formula, you know, y minus y over x minus x, so that'd be -1 minus 3 over -2 minus 0. So it's -4 over -2, which would just be 2. Hey, I was right. So now what I can do is I can use what's called point slope form. And this is the point slope form. And I want you to take a note of how that's set up, okay? This is not slope intercept. Okay, this is point slope. And what you're looking at is m is still your slope. And then you use a point, so you use an x value and a y value from your line, from your graph, okay? So, and plug in to this. So what I will write is, I'll take an easy point. I'll take 0, 3. I will use 0, 3. I will write y minus 3 equals my slope. That wasn't very good. So equals my slope times x minus 0. Okay, so now it's a little bit of algebra. So you distribute this. So y minus 3 equals 2x, and then 2 times 0 is nothing, so I just leave it. So then I add 3. So my answer will be y equals 2x plus 3. So now I know some of you are saying, hey, Mr. Heeren, you plotted it right on the y-axis. You can pick off that is your y-intercept right there. And you're absolutely correct, I can. Okay, in this case, in this specific problem, yes, I can point out that one is my y-intercept. But that's not always going to be the case. Okay, that's not always going to be the case. So I need to use point-slope form to kind of help me maneuver to a slope-intercept. Okay, and if I wanted to just write it in point-slope form, I could have done that. I can legally do like y. I could have left it like this. That would be point-slope form, and that would be fine. That would be fine. Oops. So now as I look at this, so now we're kind of at, well, for here, let's look. So if I just try to find the slope, y minus y over x minus x. So you go 6 minus 6 over 5 minus negative 2. So you get 0 over 7. Okay, 0 over 7. Okay, that's interesting because that's just 0. Okay, so let's look and see where we are. So we're at negative 2, 6, 5, 6. Oh, also we have a horizontal line. Okay, so just from my horizontal line, I can kind of pick off that, hey, I'm crossing there at 6. Okay, so now let's put this into slope-intercept form and just see what happens. Okay, so if I go y equals mx plus b, so if I go y equals 0x, so I know that it crosses at 6. But, okay, so just substituting it in there, that's my answer. But what, mathematically, anything times 0 is just 0. Anything. So this is literally saying 0 plus 6. So my final answer is going to be y equals 6. So all horizontal lines have an equation of y equals some number. I know, it's the opposite of what you would think. Okay, you're so used to thinking y is always up and down, right? Well, it's the opposite of what you would think. It's going to go horizontal is my y equals number. Horizontal is going to be y equals. Okay, remember, it's going to be the opposite of what you're used to. Okay, so horizontal lines, it's going to be y equals there. So now if I look, let's take a look here. So a big clue, we're looking at vertical lines this time. So let's look and see what we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, and 5, negative 4. It's going to be right there. So that's going to be that. Okay, so we run into a host of problems here. So if we let's start with just finding slope. Okay, so you go negative 4 minus 3 over 5 minus 5. And if you'll recall, we can't have that. Okay, we can't divide by 0. Okay, so remember we call that undefined. Okay, that's the first of our problems. The second problem is that if I'm trying to go into slope-intercept form here, for this one, I need a slope, and my slope is undefined. I also need a y-intercept. So this thing does not exist for this, okay? I never cross this axis. I never do. Okay, the line does not do that. So this is just a hot mess, this is. So what do I do? Well, much like the previous one was y equals 6, okay, much like the previous one was y equals 6, this one is just x equals my x value. So my x value is 5, my x value is 5. I follow along this line where x equals 5. So all vertical lines have an equation of x equals, not necessarily 5, I don't want to, it's going to be some number. Okay, again, it's kind of the opposite of what you would think. You think, oh, a vertical lines go up and down, so that must be y. Well, not really, not in this case. It is where x equals whatever my x value is. Okay, so if you start to, if you don't pick up on this right away and you start running into, like, wait, my slope is undefined. Wait, I don't have a y-intercept. Okay, what is going on here? What do I do? That is where you consider, okay, wait a minute. It's got to be a vertical line, which means it's just x equals my x value. That's it. Okay. Very tricky one. Very tricky one. Really easy to run into roadblocks there. So let's take a look now. A word problem. The math student's kryptonite. Word problems. Moving company in Egan charges $75 flat rate plus a booking fee plus $35 per hour that they are working for you. Write an equation to represent total cost of a moving truck, Y, if they help you for X hours. Okay, so let's look at this. So your total cost is going to be represented by Y. And in case you haven't picked up on it, we're looking at this. Okay, it should be some way have the form of like this. Okay, so X is your hours. Okay, so now let's look at this. Okay, so your total cost. So your variable here is the hours. Okay, and they charge $35 per hour. Okay, they charge you $75 just for getting your name on the schedule. Okay, just for getting your name on the books. They charge you $75. Then, for however many hours they work, they're going to multiply it by 35. All right, so it's going to look like this. Okay, this is your hourly charge. Okay, this is your hours. This is your flat fee, okay? And you'll learn quickly about flat fees a lot. And in the future, if anybody needs to get anything, like have somebody come out to your house to fix something, there's usually a flat fee of I've heard as high as like $150 just to come out to your house to look at the problem before they even fix it. So these are not uncommon, okay? A flat fee of XYZ dollars to come out just to get your name on the books. So, okay. So the idea is look at what can be manipulated and the charge for that versus your y-intercept is often your flat fee. Okay, so that's kind of what that looks like. Okay, so make sure that you're doing the 2-3 quizzes. Okay, make sure you get 100%. And then come talk to me with questions. Okay, have a nice day.